without having any clue about what their situation is. You don't even know if they're in debt or they stole it, or you don't know anything, but everyone's trying to copy everyone else. So that's a major thing. Now, this is where the recession comes in. I just feel that this may well have been one of the blessings of the recession, because everybody has suddenly got to refocus, because where you were a year ago is absolutely not where you are today for anybody. So that's making everyone start to refocus. You have to save. You've got to stop the excess spending and so on. So it is getting better. I do believe it's getting better. Also, the central bank has made a huge effort to try to promote financial literacy, financial inclusion, to ensure that people are beginning to save and invest. The new FGN bond, for example, a savings bond on the stock market, so that the ordinary Nigerian can go on the stock market and invest, comfortably with small sums over time. So I do believe there's improvement, but such a long way to go.
Now, the issue of financial education struck me very hard when I was reading this, because there were so many things I thought I should have known, but I realized I didn't know until I read them in your book. How well do you think we're doing in terms of educating ourselves on issues of finance?
It's not just a Nigerian thing. Everywhere, when you pick up the newspapers, the finance pages don't engage you. They tend to be a lot of technical jargon that puts people off. So it's great if one is able to break down the concepts in a way that is very easy to understand and actually live. So that's what is becoming a huge improvement. So many of the dailies have got a very readable, very easy to read concepts about financial management. Gaming is just one other way, but on the internet, it's just that we have to take responsibility for our financial lives. It is scary what happens to some people, especially those who've been in the corporate world for many, many years. I remember when I was a banker, you have a great salary, you have cars, some people have generators, your rent is paid for, you have staff, and people retire with that sort of standard of living, and they had no plan for life after a major corporate. So you see the standard of living just plummet. I'm sure we all know people who you've seen how they were when they were in their corporate lives, and then what happened in retirement. And you can't depend on the extended family anymore. That used to be our social system. But even that is beginning to be thinned as we develop. Families are much more nuclear. So you're finding that you really don't have all those relatives and so on that can help you in the way you want. You have to take that responsibility for yourself.
Mrs. Campson, you built your business from the scratch over the years, so many years and so on. The subject of personal finance, do you mind sharing with us how it has affected you as an entrepreneur, as a business person?
Okay, I would look at this from the corporate view. I look at the business of Sweet Sensation and its growth, because it did have a very speedy growth. And I want to say prudence in corporate financial administration was responsible for the very speedy growth of the company. Also, at the personal finance level, you know that we're in a society where people, when they succeed, they have a total change in personality. And as a result of that, they lose that touch with the prudence that is required and the discipline that is required with pushing their organization forward. I would say, as I said in my book earlier, for almost 10 years after the company Sweet Sensation was birthed, I never drove a brand new vehicle. I kept on, when I needed to change a car, I was buying second-hand vehicles. And this is because all the capital was going back, was plowing back into opening more branches of Sweet Sensation. And this was exactly the same thing with every other facet of our lives. There was no thought about the luxury just yet. And when you begin to buy luxuries that you have not built assets to be able to afford, you are calling for a very short-lived success. We remained prudent until the foundation of the company was broadly and developed, and afterwards we loosened up a little, but we never lost the true essence of discipline in finances.
Okay, great. Great. Everybody talks about saving. Everybody talks about it. Nobody does it. Well, I'm exaggerating for effect.
I hope they do.
You know, I'm exaggerating for effect. You know, everybody talks about saving. Nobody saves money. What's the problem?
First of all, can we have a survey? How many people are saving? Right up, higher. Okay. Not very good. Not very good. Yes, I talked about paying yourself first. You know what it's like. You take money out on a Friday, and on Monday morning you have no clue what happened to the money you took out. Did that happen to you?
I've been there.
Because the expenses just keep coming. But if you'd put the money aside and save as soon as the money hits your account, if you're fortunate enough to have a job and a salary, paying yourself first and by direct debit, so it's automated. If you wait till the end of the month, there's never anything left. It's all gone. You're waiting for the next salary. But if you're able to do that at the beginning of the cycle, that's what we refer to as paying yourself first. And the critical nature of savings, we all need an emergency fund. And we recommend 6 months to a year worth of expenses set aside in savings. It's very, very important. So thank you for those who raised their hands, and those who didn't, please start saving.
Mrs. Kamson.
I think it's a good one that we must all learn to save. The only reason why I don't do it so well is because I probably feel maybe I have one asset kept in the kitty, that if there's trouble, I can quickly sell. But the whole idea of saving is you are not so sure how fast you can dispose an asset, whereas cash is king. And that is where Mimi's book comes to the rescue.
Okay, we're going to take a very, very, very short break right now, and then we'll continue after the break.